going on, guys? It is WrestleLamia here, back with another video. You know what? The WWE has never had a problem rewriting history, whether it's removing people from its Hall of Fame, deleting commentary from a wrestling video, or even pretending a wrestler never existed. In this video we're going to look at 15 times the WWE banned something, be it a person, phrase, or move. Long before Matt and Jeff Hardy, the WWE had its final deletion. Number 1. The word title shot. Braun Strowman recently found out that wrestlers don't ask for title shots, they ask for title opportunities. Case in question when Vince McMahon reportedly chewed out Strowman when he asked for a title shot on an episode of Raw, telling Braun Strowman what vocabulary is used and what is not. Number 2. Blood. Like Hulk Hogan, blood has been an on and off romance, with the WWE banning it only to bring it back. The WWF phased out blood for some time during the rock and wrestling era of the 80s, but it eventually returned, only to be phased out again over recent years. The no blood policy seemed to be official in 2008, reportedly because of the blood in a match between Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho during their hot feud that year. Shawn Michaels was quoted in 2015 as saying, "Yeah, they're no longer allowed to have blood because I got too much that night. Before the match, I begged Vince and told him I have to bleed for this angle. You gotta let me get some color up over my eye." And he said, "Okay, just a little." For the record, I sincerely only meant to get a little, but I did it, and I hit that bad boy, and it was so awesome. Ever since, things got to a point where if a wrestler, sports entertainer, got busted open accidentally, medical personnel would patch them up on the spot and send them back to the match. Yes, there have been a couple of occasions where blood has spilled, such as last SummerSlam's incredibly stupid episode where Brock Lesnar reportedly busted open Randy Orton the hard way to get a bloody finish, but it's as rare as a match where Roman Reigns doesn't get booed. Number 3. The move Piledriver. The Piledriver has always been a badass looking move, but not without its controversy. Wrestlers such as Mr. Piledriver Bob Sweeten, Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, Jerry the King Lawler all polished their opponents off with the Piledriver, the move being sold as one too brutal to recover from. However, the Piledriver also carries the notoriety in it, with the high possibility to seriously injure the recipient if the move is executed improperly. When Owen Hart flubbed a Piledriver on Stone Cold Steve Austin at 1997 SummerSlam, Austin suffered a permanent neck injury that culminated in his early retirement in 2003. Since about 2000, the Piledriver has been banned, except for wrestlers Kane and The Undertaker, or with special permission from the WWF, such as CM Punk piledriving John Cena on an episode of Raw in 2013. Number 5. Chris Benoit. Benoit's horrific crimes against his wife and son continue to haunt the wrestling industry as people still struggle to come to terms with what actually happened. While we may never know what exactly caused Benoit's crimes, it's clear the WWE is doing everything not to remind people about him. Although it looked like the WWE might digitize Benoit out of existence on WWE Video at one point, they thankfully didn't go that far. However, don't expect to see Benoit in the Hall of Fame or Chris Benoit retrospective videos. The old saying time heals all wounds may prove wrong in Benoit's case. Number 6. Item fans can't bring in. Most of these banned items are for security purposes or to prevent unauthorized filming of WWE events. Simple common sense would tell you not to bring the following, but a couple are worth mentioning, such as bags and briefcases. Apparently the WWE doesn't want more than one Money in the Bank briefcase in the building. Backpacks, purses over 16 by 16 inch, alcoholic beverages. Most arenas have plenty of overpriced booze to wait in line for during a cruiserweight match or any match involving the Ascension. Illegal drugs or paraphernalia. No word if the WWE will institute a wellness policy for fans, but if they do, people in the cheap seats are more likely to fail piss tests than people in the front rows. Sort of how main eventers rarely fail wellness policy tests, while lower card wrestlers aren't so lucky. And finally, luggage of any kind. But what possible use could someone have for luggage at a WWE event? Number 7. The move the curb stomp. Fans wondering why Seth Rollins stopped using the curb stomp and adopted the pedigree should take note that the WWE is being sued by a number of former WWE wrestlers for concussion-related ailments. The lawsuit against the NFL for concussions was a wake-up call throughout the industry, and the WWE was no exception. Although the curb stomp might not seem dangerous, the WWE isn't taking any chance. Number 8. Jeff Jarrett. Vince McMahon may be getting up in years, but unlike other men who might suffer from memory problems, Vince has Irish Alzheimer's, a condition suffered by those of Irish ancestry. In this case, Jeff Jarrett was set to leave the WWF in 1999, scheduled to work one last match at the No Mercy pay-per-view and drop the Intercontinental Championship to China in a good housekeeping match. Basically, it was a gimmick match with household related weapons. The only problem was that Jarrett's contract had already expired and he was not obliged to appear at the show. With the Monday Night War still raging, Jarrett could have tried taking the belt to WCW, where he was returning. Jarrett's story is that he was owed money for pay-per-views and asked for it before he left the promotion. Vince McMahon's side is that he was blackmailed when Jarrett demanded $300,000 or he wouldn't work the show. Some reports have it that McMahon believes Jarrett conspired to still have the belt when he was no longer under contract, knowing Vince would have to pay him. Whichever story is true, Vince McMahon is still sticking to his story, and he's made it clear on WWE TV and reportedly behind the scenes that Jarrett will never work in the WWE again. Number 9. Chair shots to the head. Most of us will remember the infamous I Quit match between The Rock and Mankind at the Royal Rumble in 1999, where Foley received a skull-cracking 11 shots to the head. But between toning down the WWE's image of violence and a number of wrestlers suffering concussions and serious head injuries, it seems that safety concerns led this move to be banned. Number 10. Teddy Hart. Teddy Hart is the grandson of Hart Dynasty patriarch Stu Hart. He became the youngest person ever signed to the WWF when he picked up a developmental deal in 1998. Since then, Hart has been equally known for his talent in the ring and a propensity for getting into trouble in and out of the ring. Hart was reportedly let go by the WWF due to bad attitude, and a short run in Ring of Honor ended when Hart was said to have gone into the business for himself, no-selling opponents' moves and performing high spots with no rhyme or reason. A stint in TNA ended after Hart and CM Punk were involved in an altercation at a restaurant, and Punk had this to say about him. "No worries though, if it gets you anywhere, I'd bet my life and $100 that you'd find a way to ruin it for yourself with your out-of-control ego as well as your piss-poor attitude. There is no conspiracy, nobody is trying to blackball you, we're just looking out for our friends' safety as well as ours. We're just looking out for the product we all believe in, because it's us that want to give the fans a good show. We're just policing our locker room from a cancer that has no business in a business that he acts like he knows all about, but knows so little. We're just protecting our business." The WWE gave Hart a second chance, with Hart working several dark matches in 2005, then reporting to Florida Championship Wrestling in 2006. However, by 2007, Hart was released again, and this time it looks like it was for good. Number 11. Juventud Guerrero. It's hard to think of a wrestler whose ego, drug problems, and bad backstage attitude could outdo Teddy Hart, but Guerrero seems to have risen to the occasion. Unlike Hart, the Juice had considerable national exposure, working in WCW, TNA, and the WWE. Unfortunately, Guerrero's problems in and out of the ring saw this talented performer shown the door not only by WCW, allegedly for a PCP-fueled incident during an overseas tour, but also the WWE. Guerrero's WWE run saw him perform moves he was ordered not to do, and on at least one occasion he injured a wrestler by disobeying management. Paul London suffered fractures to his face when Guerrero botched a 450 splash, an injury that no doubt contributed to Guerrero's release. Number 12. Jesse Ventura. Wrestler Jesse the Body Ventura transitioned from in the ring to calling the action in the ring during the 1980s after blood clots forced Ventura to retire at an early age. Ventura quickly became the WWF's best color commentator, providing heel color commentary alongside Gorilla Monsoon and Vince McMahon. While Jesse wasn't the first heel color commentator, he raised it to the level of art, proclaiming himself as the man who tells it like it is, favoring the heels over the faces. Jesse claims he tried to organize wrestlers into a union, but Hulk Hogan sold them out. Ventura claims Vince McMahon nearly fired him right there. Later, McMahon would fire Ventura when he refused to let the WWF use his likeness on a video game. After his termination, Ventura sued the WWF for royalties owed on videotapes of WWF shows with his commentary. The case would go through federal court with Ventura winning, and according to Ventura, McMahon then deleted Jesse's commentary from the tapes so that he wouldn't have to pay him royalties, and vowed never to bring Ventura back. Ventura did return to the WWF as a special referee at 1999's SummerSlam and was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame in 2004. Oddly enough, Ventura's commentary appears on some videos while it's been dubbed over on others. In a 2016 interview, Jesse claimed, "I beat Vince McMahon in federal court because my likeness and voice was on 98 of his tapes. I guess out of spite, after he lost the court case, he felt that he would rather ruin the original broadcast and ruin the authenticity of it, which I thought was very foolish. But he did it out of spite because he has to pay me for any tapes that I appear on. I still get checks today. I laughingly call it my wrestling retirement, and believe me, some of the checks are pretty healthy." Number 13. Bill Eadie. Savvy wrestling fans know Vince McMahon isn't above screwing over people on his hit list on and off the air. Bill Eadie began wrestling in the WWF as Bolo Mongol, then became the masked superstar, working the territories as well as the WWF. In 1986, Eadie donned another mask, working as the Super Machine alongside the Giant Machine, before unmasking and donning face paint as Demolition Act. Teaming with Demolition Smash aka Barry Darsow, Eadie would hold the WWF Tag Team Championship 3 different times, with one of the reigns setting a record that stood until recently when the New Day broke it. Not coincidentally, Eadie and a number of wrestlers filed a class action lawsuit against the WWE in 2016, claiming they suffered traumatic brain injuries and the WWF concealed the risks of such injury. It should come as no surprise that Demolition hasn't entered the Hall of Fame or that Eadie will likely never do so. Number 14. Olli Anderson. In 2012, JJ Dillon and the Four Horsemen were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. However, one of the founding horsemen was missing, Olli Anderson, and instead Barry Windham entered the Hall of Fame. Fans wondering why Olli wasn't asked need to go back to 1984 when Vince McMahon brought out Georgia Championship Wrestling and invited Olli Anderson to come work for him. Anderson, who owned a share in Georgia territory, had been sold out by his partners and did not want to sell to McMahon. Anderson reportedly refused McMahon's offer, and when McMahon persisted, Olli told Vince "F you," and then turned to Lyndon McMahon and said "F you too." Needless to say, Anderson has been persona non grata ever since. And number 15. Wrestling itself. Professional wrestling is still how most people describe the predetermined bouts fans have been paying to see for over a century. Just don't say it around Vince McMahon. Wrestling in Vince's eyes has been sports entertainment. When Vince McMahon took over his father's business, he wanted to take it out of the smoke-filled halls and make it something which he considered legitimate. The result was a polished product called sports entertainment. Well guys, do you remember any of these final deletions? And if you enjoyed, please like the video and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.